Well, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock, so I'll call to order the meeting, the April 26th meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority. And the item 2 on the agenda is items from the chairman. We have 2 items from the Development and Water Use Committee. Kathy?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The first item that we have with the Development and Water Use Committee is a request. Oh, I need that. I turned it on. I forgot to put it on. There we go. The Development and Water Use Committee had 2 items on the agenda today. The first one is a request by the Boathouse Foundation to allow camping within the Boathouse District. This resolution will authorize limited camping within their leasehold area. The Boathouse Foundation had scheduled 4 different camping activities for June, July, August, and September, not realizing that the only place that we allowed camping was at Crystal Lake. And so this resolution will resolve that situation and allow the Boathouse Foundation to go forward with their camping activities now and in the future. And they will also provide signage letting people know that the camping has restrictions and that it's just not open camping. So that's our first item. Do we have any questions, or will we go through that?
We'll
later?
actually vote on these later on, but you can, the committee did recommend approval of this.
Yes.
Okay.
The second item that we have is a lease agreement between the City of Oklahoma City and the Trust and Lost Lakes Development. And they're proposing leasing property near Sunny Lane, south of Northeast 10th and Northeast 23rd Street, to create and operate an outdoor activities and entertainment venue. It will be consistent with the activities that we already have in public parks. The activities that will be allowed are the extreme sports, concerts, festivals, special events that will include fishing, biking, hiking, paintball, motocross, archery, horseback riding, and also they will provide parking, concessions, ticketing, and camping will be allowed in that area as well. The activities that we prohibit through this agreement is hunting, four-wheeling, and off-roading. The Lost Lakes will also provide fencing around the perimeter. They have agreed, if the trust votes for this agreement, to provide 5% of all parking and camping revenue on the lease and on the private property that backs up to them. They also agree to 5% of gross revenues from any activities except for the concerts and festivals that they hold. They have 90 days to submit their health and safety plan as well as their activities of operation, including the concerts, festivals, and their special events. So those are 2 items that were presented to the Development and Water Use Committee, and we recommend their approval.
Okay. We'll discuss these when we get ready to vote on them. Do you have any questions? Item 3 is the minutes of the March 22nd meeting. Do we have any changes or corrections?
So move the item.
Cast your vote. Let's approve unanimously. Item 4 is a consent docket. We have the oil and gas revenue report and the river corridor events update.
Move approval of both items.
Second.
Any questions? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item 5 is the primary agenda items. The first one is the river maintenance projects update. Paul, what's going on down on the river?
Oh, always something. Good afternoon. We have 3 items on your monthly maintenance report this month. Item number 1 is to announce that the council this morning awarded the construction contract for our river maintenance facility, which is a good thing. The base bid that was just for the building itself came in low enough that we had enough money in the budget to award all 4 of the ad alternates, which included the water line extension from Penn, which we were going to have to take anyway because we have to have water at the facility, of course. The addition of heating to the existing floating boat dock, some additional outside covered equipment storage, and an equipment pad that will be built down really close to the water's edge that will allow us to more timely change out some of the equipment on the skimmer boats. So we're very happy that all 4 of the alternates were able to be included in the contract. We've scheduled the pre-work conference with the contractor for this Friday, so early next month we should see the beginnings of some work down there. Item number 2 is just a follow-up on our hydraulic system maintenance program. If you recall, I think it was last month, I told you that we had successfully removed the existing cylinders from the May Avenue boat lock. Those cylinders have been completely refurbished by our vendor, and we are working with COTPA on a window of time where we can actually take those cylinders now that have been refurbished, pull the existing cylinders off the Brum lock, put the refurbished cylinders on Brum, then take the ones that are our Brum back to the vendor, and once those are refurbished, we'll hold those in storage in case we need one in an emergency situation, or they'll be available for the next time that we change them out on the May Dam. So again, we've got a preventative maintenance program that's taking place every 2 or 3 years on these cylinders in an effort to avoid any of the failures that we've experienced in the past. And item number 3 is just a quick update. We are still planning on changing out the hydraulic fluid at the Brum Dam. Again, we are working with COTPA on the opportunity to do that. This is the hydraulic power unit that exists at all 3 of the dams, and it holds about 800 gallons of hydraulic fluid. It's a pretty extensive process where we will drain all the fluid out of that, and then we will drain the fluid out of the lines that go out to the dam. This is a picture that we took, I think it was the last time that we did it, either at Brum or at the Eastern Dam. These are employees of our environmental contractor, Boomer Environmental, and that tote there is actually holding some of the used fluid that they take and they recycle for us. So that's just a quick update on what we've got going on right now. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just as a curiosity, the old fluid that comes out, is that recyclable? Are they able to clean that, and do we get a credit for it, or do we have to buy new and not get a trade-in?
It's that the fluid that we use is what they call fish-friendly. It's environmentally safe, so when we do have a leak of any type, we don't have to worry about any environmental concerns. Okay. We asked that question a while ago about the recycling, and by the time we get it out, it's usually so dirty that they just take it to the appropriate landfill facility and dispose of it. So.
Any other questions for Paul? I need a motion to receive his update.
So move.
Second.
Cast your vote. It's unanimous. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Item B is to receive the quarterly cruisers update. Jeannie?
Good afternoon. The Oklahoma River Cruises ferry service is in full swing, having resumed on April 1st. Ridership for the first 3 weeks was up 134%, and our riders per trip was up 92% over the last year. Had a good start with lots of good weather. Ferry fun activities are shown here. New this year are the Armed Forces Day, when active and retired military ride free, and the Grandparents' Day on September 11th. Just to note that this will be the 9th year for History Comes Alive, when we have historical reenactors from the Oklahoma History Center performing on the boats on Saturdays. Our ferry schedule this year is substantially the same as last season, with the exception of December. river conditions and weather are traditionally afford very low ridership in December. This is also an excellent opportunity for Public Works to begin some of their maintenance activities on the dams. So for that reason, we've decided not to run in December. Evening ferry cruises on Fridays and Saturdays. Having these evening cruises attracted a lot of riders last year, and so we're repeating that this year. Once again, we decorate a vessel for those traveling during those times in the evening. You see the themes up there for each of the months, June through September. This is especially popular with visitors to Oklahoma City staying at the Meridian hotels. They can leave the hotel area at about 12:30, travel down to Bricktown or the Boathouse District, and then have the option of leaving at 6 p.m. or as late as 9:30 p.m. to get back to their hotel. And then specialty cruises, again, we have the popular Sunset Cruise on the last 3 Fridays. Last year we did 2 a month. We had a waiting list, so this year we're doing 3. And the very popular Haunt the River. Refurbishment of the Devon Discovery is almost complete. The new high-gloss epoxy paint is on, set, and ready for the graphics to be applied. This high-gloss finish is resistant to the staining that we experience with the river. Anyone who's had to clean crayon off a wall will know that a high-gloss finish is much easier. So it's very pretty, it's very shiny, and we're very excited to have this new coating on our boats. I offered this slide to show you some of the before and after pictures from our refurbishment effort. In the bottom left corner is a bow thruster that is missing a prop. It's supposed to have a prop on either side. The prop on the port side was completely sheared off from debris. In the upper right, we see that it now has 2 props, as it should. In the bottom center, we see a rudder. One of the main props. You can see where they sustained significant damage from debris in the river. And then in the bottom right, we see the rudder, which has a very worn bearing at the top and a lot of scraping of the paint. And then at the upper right, we see a newly finished rudder and newly polished props. This boat should be back in the river sometime around the first week of May. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jeannie? Comment? Very good. Thank
Move
you.
the item.
We have a motion to receive that and a second. Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item C is to receive the unaudited interim financial statements for the period ending February 29th of 2016. Any questions? Need a motion to receive that?
Second.
Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item D is the Riverfront Redevelopment Authority's operating budget for fiscal year 2016-2017. Do we have any questions on that? Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item E is the 5-year capital improvement plan for the Redevelopment Authority, 2016-17 through 2020-21. Get these updates as we go along to show what items are forecast in the capital budget in the out years. I think most of these, if not all of them, are currently unfunded, probably. Is that correct? That's correct. Yeah. But it does show what kind of our goal is with the items along the river. Any questions on the plan?
So these would be paid for from where? Out of the general operating budget of the city, or where does, we don't have the money right now, where will it come from?
Well, the money would have to come from either a bond issue could come from the next MAPS project, could come from any source, and it could come from general operating if the city got flush with a lot of money, I guess.
Yeah, the three sources, or two main ones, would be the next general obligation bond authorization and the other capital plan that the city currently has, but there's nothing identified in either of those right now for these projects. We're just now starting to put together, in fact, we started some public meetings as recently as last month in various wards to talk about projects for the next bond authorization, which is scheduled to be voted on in late 2017.
Any other questions? Motion to approve this?
Second.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item F is our renewal of the consultant services with Triad Design Group for on-call engineer. This is a contract that we renew yearly, and it's a kind of a contract where if we don't use them, we don't get anything. Best kind there is, I guess. But they've been our on-call for a long time, done a good job. So simply to have it in place if we should need something.
Move approval.
Second. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item G is the yearly contract for our audit. This year with Allen, Gibbs, and Halleck, LC, for the 2015-2016 audit. Any questions?
Move the item.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item H is the first amendment to the sand mining agreement. When I first read this, I thought, boy, they're going to start taking sand again. They're going to start making some money. As I understand it, this is allowing us to go on site that they still have control over, so to speak, to remove some items that somebody else wants. Is that correct?
It's mainly for a bank stabilization project within that area.
Okay. So they are still moving out. We're just doing some work down in there. Any questions on this?
Move approval.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item I is a resolution authorizing camping with the Boathouse District, Boathouse Foundation, as Kathy explained earlier, out of the Land Use Committee. Again, I'll say this is something that's the foundation would have to have an organized event. This is not just open camping, and it's not going to happen year-round or whatever. It'll only be for the events that they organize. They'll be the responsible party for this and putting up the appropriate signage and making sure that open camping doesn't happen. Fairly consistent with what we did at Crystal Lake for them. So the committee did recommend approval.
Move the item.
Any questions? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. The next one is the lease agreement between the City of Okura and Lost Lakes Development for the property located near Sunny Lane and 10th to 23rd Street. This is the other item that came out of the Land Use Committee. Roger Skeen has proposed, he's got private property that he owns there and wants to lease some of our land predominantly for parking use to expand the events that he's using there. The committee went through the restrictions on it with him, the city legal. He's got to get all the same permits as in any of the other stuff, and he's also got to work environmentally with the environmental people on the river itself and so forth. So he's in agreement with all of that, and it does create a small amount of revenue in some of the parking and event stuff for us. So sound like a good thing, and sound like you're going to have some fun events out there. So hopefully so, anyway. Any questions of Roger? He's here if you got a question for him.
I know, Doug, you weren't in the meeting. You're comfortable with, as Parks Director, because I know this all goes back to approval from the Parks Director for any of the improvements and all.
That's correct. We think it's a great opportunity and a great opportunity for the trust to use some of their land in a productive way, and it will help also protect it from illegal dumping. And we've had a good partnership with Lost Lakes in the past for their events, so we support it.
Thank you.
One benefit to us is that it's an area that we've had trouble controlling from illegal entry and dumping and so forth, and in the use. Roger's going to clean that up and fence it and so forth, so we've got another plus out of it for the River Trust. Looks like it's going to pass. You got anything you want to say, Roger?
Very excited. We're looking forward to this for a long-term relationship.
Very good. Okay. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Cast your vote, and it passes unanimously. Thanks, Roger. Okay, item 6 is the claims docket. Any questions on the claims docket?
Move approval.
Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Any comments from staff? Pat, you got anything other than what's in your written report, or you want to expand on your written report?
Just a couple of things to draw to your attention. One is that the Ferris wheel is now going vertical. That construction is well underway. It's been, I think, covered in the Oklahoman and elsewhere. It actually has made national news. AP has picked up the photography that was taken here and has gone all over the country. So there is a great deal of excitement, and that's, oddly enough, one of the things that people ask about on the river is when's the Ferris wheel going to be done. So it's underway. You should watch for an invitation for the MAPS 3 ribbon cutting ceremony on the 28th. Mark your calendar. It's 2 p.m. At the Whitewater Center. And then following that, the weekend of May 5th, 6th, 7th, you'll have the Road to Rio on the 7th, the big celebration. You should watch for, maybe have already received VIP invitations from the Boathouse Foundation for that. U.S. Olympic Committee is starting to arrive already. Some of the athletes are coming in, so it's a big weekend for Oklahoma City coming up. So if there's any questions, be happy to address them. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Second.
Cast your vote. Pass it. Received. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
I will say that for those of you that noticed on the next year's budget, there was an item for $40,000 for a Director of Development Consulting. Pat, as you all know, our situation with losing sand mining and the oil revenue, we didn't think we could afford to sorrowful that we couldn't keep Pat where he was at in his pay finances. So he came forward with a transition agreement. That agreement will be for 5 months at $8,000 a month for a $40,000 total. We'll work it. We'll pass it in the May meeting, but it'll be retroactive to May 1st. So starting May 1st for 5 months, we'll at least keep Pat in a transition period, and we'll appreciate your willingness to do that and your long-time service here, Pat. So, anything else on that? Any comments by trustees?
Pat, did we ever get a report on the holiday boat parade? I know we had talked about it a couple of months ago, and you said you felt like it would be coming.
No, sir, I have not received a report, but we'll look into that. Have you, Mr. Chairman? Have not received a report, so we'll request that again.
Any other comments by trustees? Citizens? Mike, you want to, we got a ribbon cutting Thursday and then a big opening here in another week or two. It ought to be a big time down there.
It's a busy time. Pat, I think, explained it very well. Just a couple notes. We're doing a lot of, we did receive the Department of Labor clearance today, so everything's full steam ahead with be having a very appropriate opening on Thursday involving a raft, and so if you're interested, let us know if you'd like to be in the raft. But we will be following up with all of the activities on Thursday. Next week will be a very busy week. We have the Olympic athlete hopefuls that are already arriving, as Pat noted. But on starting the whole festivities with Thursday night, we're going to be doing an art show with Desmond Mason in the new Whitewater building. That will be on the 5th. On the 6th will be the Rotary Point dedication, and it is now nearly complete. It looks very good, very good. And then on the 7th, we'll begin the three-pronged event that is the Road to Rio tour. We'll have the Road to Rio tour with all the festivities that the U.S. Olympic Committee is bringing in. Still promoting this for, looking for volunteers, but it's really going to be a spectacular event. Then we have the Olympic trials going on at that same time, along with rafting in the Whitewater Center. So people will be allowed to raft in the recreational channel while the trials are going on in the competition channel. And then we'll have the Central Youth Rowing Championship going on the river, and that'll have about 1,500 athletes, and that's coordinated by U.S. Rowing. So kind of a lot of activities at one time, really showing off what we can pull off now with the various different water sports. Should be a really great way to kick off the operations of River Sport Rapids. So, any questions? You should be receiving invitations here any day now.
You been down it yet?
Of course. Yes, in various different watercraft. So we're testing, raft. I figure I better feel good about it before anyone else. So rafting, and we have the duckies, which are the inflatable kayaks. We have the plastic kayaks, which we'll have classes for, and then river tubing as well. So a variety of different ways to use our new course. So it's a very exciting course, and everyone who's been on it, all the people who've come in are just thoroughly amazed by what we've built here. So it's very authentic, let me put it that way.
I know it wasn't, as a side benefit to all of this, I've talked to some of the rescue operations people with the fire department, and they're almost as excited about what they're going to be doing down there as the kids might be about what they're going to do. There's a lot of good opportunities, and they think that's going to be a huge benefit for them and for the fire service regionally.
We start that on May 9th, so right after Road to Rio, we will start that partnership with Oklahoma State University and the Oklahoma City Fire Department. So they think they've written one of the premier swift water rescue training programs in the country, if not the world. They're going to be held right out of here, so it's going to be a big deal. Yeah. Look forward to giving you a look around. Anytime you want to take a tour, it really is truly spectacular when you see it. So hope to see you on Thursday. So, thank you.
Any other comments by citizens? Okay. We are adjourned.